Well, welcome again to Let's Talk TT, or as apparently in some corners of the social media world, Mac and Cheese. Now, I know who Mac is, so does that mean I'm cheesy? But anyway, what we've got here is we've got Ben from Revolution Trains, and we've who's we'll do the introduction in a second. Now, some of you might be a bit confused when you see someone else talking here because you'd be expecting to see Mike. He hasn't taken some sort of rejuvenation drug. Instead, we've got Louis, their new designer. And we'll be chatting to Louis further on in the video. Right, so let's get the ball rolling. Let's start with Ben. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, hello there. Hi, I'm Ben from Revolution Trains.
And Ben, what's your position and what's your responsibilities?
Oh, okay. Well, I'm one of the two directors of the company. My sort of co-director is Mike Hale, who can't be here tonight, but I'm sure he'll be tuning in and very keen to hear what we will talk about in his absence. Mike does all the sort of the website, the finances, the ordering, that kind of side of the business. I tend to do more of the design and the marketing and research and stuff like that. Although the thing is, Revolution is a tiny company, and so we all have to do a little bit of everything, as our new colleague Louis is about to find out.
Louis, would you like to say hello?
Hiya, my name's Louis. I am a former Hornby designer. I'm converted and I'm now part of Revolution Trains.
Revolution Louis.
Yeah.
And go on, Mac. Come on.
I get to say hello just to make sure I'm here to keep them all on track. Basically, you know what Peach is like, so I'm here to be the sensible, grown-up voice in the whole thing. Good to see you.
Right. So, Mac, you're going to open up with the first question for Ben, please.
Let's fire on then. White, you've got your pre-orders out. You've got the wagon on the way. What progress have we got for the JNAs? What can you tell us that we don't already know, or someone who's just joining and figuring out what do I put on my nice shiny 66? Talk to us where you've got so far.
Well, where we've got is that we've had the first iteration of the CADs in. We've put them on our website so people can see them, and I'm sure that they'll be shown during the course of this video. We're doing 5 different versions. I can talk you through them each in turn. The first one we're doing is the original DB MMA. They were the first ones built, and the spotting points there is they have 9 body side ribs, and they also have a little door on each side. The door is only there to be open to allow the wagon to be swept out from time to time. It's not meant to be something where people climb in and out all the time. It's purely to allow the wagon to be cleaned. There's that one. There's the other 9 rib version doesn't have any doors on it at all, and that's the one that's operated by Tarmac, the grey ones. We're also doing 2 in the original style with VTG. The spotting points there, they have 11 body side ribs, and again, some have doors, some don't have doors. And then we've added a 5th one, which is the new portable run, and that one has a door on one side only. However, in this first production run, I don't think we're producing any particular models of that one. We're doing that in 00, but not in TT120. The TT120 ones that we are doing have been chosen to go with the new Hornby 66 there. I mean, this 2025, I think, is going to be a really big year for TT120. I'm sure that Hornby is going to be following through now with some really exciting new announcements, hopefully sometime in spring. We are very enthused with the response so far to this model. We are doing our best to keep people in the loop with the development of it. The ones we're doing, as I said, have been chosen for the initial batch of Hornby TT120 66s, but I'm sure more 66s will be coming, and that will allow us to maybe look at doing some more different wagons and different models as well. The next step for the TT120 MMA and JNA wagons is I need to just go over them, double check that everything's right. Initial inspections are that it's good, but there's just a few things I really want to run over it with a fine-tooth comb to check, and then we'll start tooling and we'll get the first samples in hopefully in about 2 or 3 months' time.
Ben, because that's something that you guys at Revolution are particularly well known for, I guess, from your Engage days. Well, you still do Engage, don't you? Is the fact that you're really quite meticulous when it comes to your detail and your prototypical finishes. That it's all got to be absolutely spot on for you and Mike.
Yeah, I mean, when we first started 10 years ago, we were just doing Engage because Mike and I, it was just the 2 of us to start with, and we're both Engage enthusiasts. And we just thought if there's going to be space in the marketplace for a new entrant, It has to be a company that's got something about it that will make people gravitate towards it. And we're both, you know, totally OCD. And so we thought, well, let's just try and make our stuff as detailed as we can. And the other thing that had always frustrated me, particularly about wagons, and I'm a bit of a wagon nut, was that a company would do a wagon and they would put lots of different paint liveries on it, and they look very pretty, but they weren't necessarily accurate. And the first wagon we did was in N-gauge, was the big 100-ton TEA tanker. And again, with that one, I think we did about 6 different versions. And there's not that, they don't look that different to the uneducated eye. They're just big tank wagons. And these wagons here, the ones we're doing in TT, they just look like big box wagons. But for those that care, we like to do the detail. We like to make sure we've got 2 or 3 different sizes of air tanks so we can correctly replicate the wagon. We like to make sure we've got different brake equipment. We've got different numbers of ribs. We've got doors or no doors. We've got all the other little detail things that that we care about. And we're enthusiasts. If we care about it, we think that our customers are going to care about it too.
Yeah, and that's going to be something that I think might be. I'm not sure. There's a lot of new people coming to TT120, but that doesn't mean that they can't be led. That doesn't mean that they can't become enthusiastic about this. You know, but why treat new people to the hobby as a dumbed down customer? Why not actually say, hey, look how fantastic this is, and this is correct. Do what you like with it. You want to fill it for the Christmas presents and send it around your Christmas tree. That's yours. You bought it. But we're going to go down this road of making sure they're absolutely bang on and spot on. And I think it's to be applauded.
Absolutely. I think folk are excited by the fact that Revolution involved because you have that reputation. Folk know that about your stuff. That's it's not near enough. It's spot on. It's done with that level of integrity. Just a little bit. I mean, you're looking at a couple of months' time for what's in terms of sales, first sales. What are you aiming at? Still, are you able to give us some sort of delivery dates to aim for?
It's a bit difficult for us to judge on sales because we're doing this wagon in a different way. You know, we do understand that the TT120 market is a little bit different to our traditional markets in N-gauge and in double gauge, which are more established and perhaps are more stratified into customers who are happy running Shinkansens next to Flying Scotsmans, next to HSTs, or others who are insistent on only running the trains that ran on a certain branch line at a certain time in a certain year. TT is a bit more homogenous, I think, at the moment. I mean, one thing we would say is that we'd never patronize our customers. You know, we're just being quite clear with people. We just want stuff to be accurate. You know, if you like it, buy it. If you don't, that's fine. But we are doing the hard work so you don't have to. What we want our customers to understand is that they can trust us to have gone through and got the detailing as different and as right as we can, so that when they put it on their layout, they're not going to suddenly discover 3 months down the line, well, hang on, that should be a completely different wagon. I mean, you know, we've all in the past, maybe in the 90s or the 80s, you buy something and you're really pleased with it, and then suddenly you realize the manufacturer's taken a bit of a shortcut. Now, I'm very happy to say so far, I don't think Hornby have done that on any of the TT120 products either. So everyone seems to be coming in at this with the idea that if you're going to get the scale right, you're going to get the gauge right, you might as well try and get the details right. That's sort of where we're coming at. So in terms of the sales, though, which is what you asked me about, because we're not opening this to pre-orders ourselves per se, and it's more a retailer thing, and we don't go after retailers every 5 minutes, say, how's it doing here? How's it doing there? You know, we've taken a decision to do this, and we are doing it, and we will produce the models, and I'm confident that they will sell. I mean, you know, we've got enough faith in the scale. We've seen the remarkable success Hornby have had with the launch of it, the quality of the products as well, and I think it's a really nice scale. And since I saw my first TT120 model, I thought, wow, that's a really nice scale. And I just think it needs people to, you know, push on through, have the confidence. I mean, what do they say? Build it and they will come.
Yeah. Well, and I think they are coming, because there's certainly feedback I'm getting from the fine scalers, and not just the new people who are getting into the hobby as a whole, but the fine scalers who are already into the hobby, who are, you know, who have, they don't blink at the idea of the fact that they've already made 10 layouts. They've got 10 layouts in them ahead of them, and a whole range of scales. I think a lot of them are really excited by getting the kind of that accuracy that you can get, or the scale gauge accuracy you can get from O gauge, but in such a much smaller space that gives them a wider scope. I've seen some people's plans for huge layouts in this stuff, so looking at 7-meter jobs, but with an amazing level of detail. And I think you're right. I think it's going to be exciting. This year, I think it's just going to be. I'm not quite sure if I can afford everything that's going to come out this year, but I know it's going to be amazing. So listen, thanks for all of that. What we do want to sort of can we have a quick? This is because of new people who particularly have found my channel and Mac's channel because of this thing coming out. Can we have a conversation, a quick wrap up of matching the Hornby Locos with your wagons? So obviously and when we're talking about the 66s here, obviously the Red DB is going to be the Red DB version that you've got. Now they've got 3 GBRF Locos, and you have one obviously blue GBRF wagon. But can you help them steer them towards the prototypicality of those train builds?
Yeah, so I mean, my first tip would be, if you're interested in putting together accurate formations, look on our website. There is a formations guide there that will help you decide what wagons you need to go with which locomotive. And the other thing, I do this all the time, I suspect a lot of people do, is just go onto Flickr and look at, or go onto YouTube and look at, videos of the real thing and see how they run. You're absolutely right. The DB Loco is the ideal partner for the Red DB wagons. They're the MMAs. They're the ones great out of the Derbyshire limestone quarries at Peak Forest, and they go sort of across the country from there. They radiate out. The second one that we're doing in TT 120 is the Great Tarmac and Moa ones. Now, again, they were primarily built for use out of the big quarry in Leicestershire at Mount Sorrel. And so there is a railhead there at Barrow upon Soar. So they'll be running up and down the Midland Main Line and then out to various locations, particularly in East Anglia. You see lots of those around near where I live in Cambridgeshire. And also across to the northwest as well, to Liverpool and places like that. So they're radiating out that way. Talking about the other ones, then you've got the blue GBRF wagon. Again, GBRF unusually had a fleet with their own branding on, rather than having the wagon leasing company's branding on, a bit more like DB. Those ones have been used by GBF for all sorts of things. At the moment, a lot of them, and GBRF, by the way, have bought more of these wagons as well. So they've been growing their fleet, although they're all pretty much same. They have been growing a fleet from the initial, I think, 50 or 60 they had first off. They've been using a lot of those for high-speed 2 work. So that's involved in spoil to and from the areas around where high-speed 2 is being built. They were also used for spoil from Crossrail when that was being built. So if you want to go back a few years, you can run them down through Kent. But the GBRF don't just use theirs for spoil and stone. They also use them for things like gypsum. And there's a gypsum quarry, I think, in Sussex that they run out of with the big box wagons, and also sometimes containerized traffic, but that's a different thing. And the other two that we're doing are the Mendip Rail version and the Wascosa Network Rail. Now, Wascosa Network Rail are using those ones primarily to move new ballast around to virtual quarries. So those are running around. And they could be hauled by anything, because, of course, Network Rail tend to just have engineering possessions, engineering works, and they will hire in locomotives with crews from the freight operating companies and run their wagons accordingly. And the Mendip Rail ones are used by Freightliner predominantly at the moment, because they are coming out of the big Somerset quarries and into London and across the southeast. So it would be great if Hornby were to produce a Freightliner loco at some point soon. And of course, you also see those ones, the Class 59 locomotives, who no one is doing yet.
Right. Yeah. What was that? Was that a tip? No, but,
who knows?
There's the dream. Yeah. So, I think the Freightliner, it's a favourite livery of mine. I mean, it's been really quite popular in other companies in Double O, and and also in the Engage. So yeah, that's something that I think now. But I have noticed, by, as you said, looking through Flickr, I've seen a bit of a mix and match with some of these things as well. So we aren't talking strictly about you have to have 20 red wagons behind the back of something. There do seem to be one or two images here and there where there's a few bits of bats mixed up.
No, that's absolutely right. And that all comes down to who owns the wagons, really, because a lot of these wagons are owned by wagon leasing companies like VTG or Onoa, and then they're just sort of leased out. And VTG, certainly, when they first ordered the wagons that they had for their customers, they also ordered about 50 just for themselves. They went into a plain dark blue VTG livery, and they've since ordered some more that they have in silver. And these are what they call spot hire, because the great thing about these wagons compared to, say, hoppers, is they don't need specialist unloading facilities. If you are a company that is moving stone around and you use hoppers, well, you need a big thing to drop the stone into them, the top of them, at your source, and then wherever they get to, you need somewhere with like a pen underneath the track where the discharge chutes can go into, and then conveyors to get it into your piles or your buckets or hoppers or wherever you want to put it into. With these wagons, you don't need any of that. You can load them with just a wheeled grab or a sort of a digger with tracks on it, and then you can take them to a single siding somewhere and unload them with a similar sort of thing. And that's why they're so useful and so versatile. So, you know, again, if you look on websites, photo websites like Flickr, you'll often find at places like, say, Chichester, there's one where there's just a single siding. It's been brought back into use, and the train of box wagons will reverse into it. There's a single digger that sits there. Quite near where I live in Hitchin as well, they do the same thing. A 59 or a 66 will bring up a rake of these wagons. There's a sort of a grab digger thing that will reach into the wagons, unload all the stone. What's incredible is how good they are at getting every last piece of stone out of these wagons, even just reaching into them like that. Unlike the bottom discharge where gravity takes it all out, they just reach in, take it out, and pile it up next to the tracks. And that's why they're so versatile and useful, because they don't need lots of infrastructure to support them. Let's say you hire a digger in, you've got a siding somewhere, you're in business.
Yeah. And of course, you don't have to have. It's don't just stick yourself with the 66s. If you want to bring a red DB or a GBRF 08 in to shuffle one or two of these around in your little, your quarry or your whatever your layout is, then no one's going to shoot you for it. Whether or not we've got any photographs of anything doing that, but it's not within beyond the realm of imagination, is it?
No, you can shunt them around. I mean, there was a period, certainly sort of maybe 4 or 5 years ago, when shunting massively went out of favour, and except the very largest locations, the mainline loco, the train loco, tended to be used for shunting. And it still is at some places, like, for example, Dalham, where they are unloading stone, but it's the 60 or the 66 that takes the stone train, and that's usually red DB MMAs, takes them in there. It then shunts them around, so from siding to siding to get them next to the diggers so that they can be unloaded. I mean, I think one thing that's interesting is from a play point of view, these wagons can be quite good fun. The ones we're doing, they will come with sort of molded loads, but you can obviously lift those out if you want to, and they'll have a flat floor to run as empty. You can choose whether to run them full or run as empty. As I said, if you've got a corner of a layout, and everybody who runs an oval of track has got 4 spare corners of their layout. All you need to do is run a point off. You can run a couple of sidings around there. You can loop in your wagons. You can shuffle them around. It gives you some opportunity to do some real kind of operations and replicating how the real railway works in delivering the goods where it's needed to the people who need it.
Absolutely. Thank you, Ben. All of that was superb. I think some people who have been watching the channel for a while now possibly have heard some of that information before, but that's not what this is about. We are trying to get out there to new people who are coming to the channel, so that kind of information has been fantastic. Great. Seeing you're the grown up, do you want to introduce, or do you want to have a chat with Louis?
Yeah, I think so. I think, Louis, you've sat very patiently and quietly, but it's great to have you here. Thanks for taking the time out in your evening as well when we're recording this to talk to us. But give us a little bit of your own background and how you've had your journey to get to where you are now.
Yeah, so hiya, my name's Louis. I studied product design at university. And then straight out of university, I got a job at Hornby as a product designer. I was there for 3 years, and I chose to leave. And I've joined Revolution Trains.
Now, Louis, can you now we know you've got a trumpet. It's time you blew it. All right.
Yeah.
Tell the people out there some of the stuff that they bought that you
has your name stamped on the underside if they look really carefully. Because there's plenty of brilliant stuff that Louis. I think Louis is a well-regarded designer. He's not. You're just out of uni, but you've done great stuff. So let's have a little bit of information on that, I think.
Yeah, so my first project was the TTA in 00 and TT,
yeah,
which I understand was quite a fan favorite, especially with the underframe detailing. I think that model came out really well, and it was a sellout, which is great. And then I also done the TT Duchess as well. There was 3 liveries for that one.
Now that Duchess, Louis, you know, we've got to applaud you on it. It's a proper step change from the Pacifics that came before it. They were great locos. I love mine, but you know, we went from a 130 gram loco to a 200 gram loco. We went, you know, and its ability to pull, it's fantastic, and that's exactly what we want from these locos. And it's super smooth, details all there. That's absolutely bang on.
Yeah, and you're right with the TTAs as well. The comparability between the TT one and the 001 is tremendous, and you're looking at it going, how is this a TT 120 model? The stuff that's packed in there. So what we're trying to say here is Louis brings design chops to Revolution. I think that's certainly the case. He's got a credibility there, and I can see exactly why Revolution have snapped him up.
But before we shut him down, Louis, was there anything else you worked on at Hornby that's come out now since?
So I worked on the Queen Adelaide, which got cancelled, which was a bit of a shame. I designed the TT 37, which I understand we've got running samples of that now.
Okay.
And the Class 31 in TT as well.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Whether or not we end up cutting the Adelaide bit out or not,
yeah.
if it didn't come to market, so what? So we might just leave that in.
Yeah, might as well.
that'll get them going. That will get them going. Right. So now we would love to pick your brains about what you're doing at Revolution, but rather than try to do that, particularly in front of your boss, what we might ask you instead is, are you enjoying yourself? Are they good guys to work with? Does Ben always go around in shorts?
I'm not too sure about that, because every time we do a Zoom call or Teams, I can only see the top half.
So do you guys? I know that I presume you guys do a lot of remote working from each other, which is, you know, it's very much a thing these days, isn't it?
Yeah. So a lot of it is obviously working from home. I like to try and get out into like a shared working space, so you still got that kind of like professional like working environment, which I think is quite healthy. But I do enjoy working at home some days as well. Yeah, it's a very different dynamic to Hornby.
Right. Yeah. Well, I could well imagine.
Yeah. But it gives me the freedom to work wherever I want. So some days I can work in London if I want to.
Louis, when you're working on a new project, do you start right at the measuring up stage? Do you go to a prototype, or do you come in later in that process, or how does that work?
So I'll come in from the start. We will go and measure the locomotive or rolling stock or whatever the project is, and get the drawings as well. Take as many pictures and measurements, and I will start from the beginning. I won't just kind of join halfway.
Excellent. Ben, how's his tea making?
Say again?
How's his tea making?
I don't know yet. But hopefully I'll find out at some point fairly soon. No, I mean, just picking up on what Louis said, though, actually, I mean, he is working now on his first project for us, and we are currently working to get to a location so he can have a really good look and familiarize himself with these wagons. Yeah, it's a wagon. So we're going to take him down there to have a look at one, have a basic crawl all over it, familiarize himself with it, because I know from my own experience, you know, drawings are great, photos are great, but sometimes it's just really helpful just to go and see the real thing, take lots of really good close-up photos, but just get a sense of it, and, you know, that's how that bit links to that bit, that's what that bit does. And even if you don't depict that on the model, it's useful to know that's how it runs. So for example, you know, Lou was asking earlier on today, just in sort of like emails, about sort of the weld seams on these things, and it was like, well, okay, some of them are very visible, some of them have been sort of like you know, smoothed off, and it's it's that kind of thing that you really get an appreciation of if you actually go and see the real thing. So, and I totally want Louis to be in there at the ground floor. You know, because we're such a small company, we try and collaborate, but also everybody has the project that's their project. This next model, the first model Louis is doing for us, it's going to be his project. And ideally, I'd like him to be doing the research with me. He'll be doing the CAD. He'll be assessing the first samples we get. He'll be preparing the painting diagrams, checking out what the colors should be, and pretty much seeing the whole thing through, which is kind of, you know, what I do and what the rest of us do. So I'm totally, you know, excited about that. What Louis brings to us that we haven't had before, though, is a skilled 3D CAD designer. In the past, we've had to get all our CAD done elsewhere. Having Louis in the company, I hope, will enable us to move through these stages significantly quicker, because we're not having to go through lots of iterations, exchanging them with China, them coming back again. And also, it's just, you know, a new pair of eyes. It's somebody, you know, the rest of us are all in our 50s. Louis is quite a lot younger than that. So I just think it enhances the overall kind of feel of the company, the profile, the mix in the company. We're really excited to have Louis on board.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Just to reiterate for our subscribers, although obviously this is a focused TT120 channel, and so is Max a focused TT1 channel, and we're talking to Revolution about their TT120 wagons. That's not what Revolution are 100% about. They do engage, and you do some 00 stuff as well, don't you? So I'm guessing that actually Louis is spread across scales. It's not, when you're talking about stuff that you're researching next, that everyone out there, don't go and get excited. It doesn't mean specifically that Louis is doing another TT thing. We don't need Louis for you to nod or give us any hints about whether or not you are doing another TT wagon.
Yes, we do need him to nod. What do you mean we don't need him to nod? That was an opportunity there.
Yeah, maybe.
Although Ben, if is there anything you want to tell us about anything coming forward? Are you thinking about other things?
It's no secret to say that we are excited about TT, but at the same time, we are a business and we have to run professionally as a business. And we do need to see how the box wagons do. I mean, you know, we're coming in at probably a higher price point in Hornby with what we think is a premium product. If the market wants that and is ready for that, then there will be more from us. And if you're a TT 120 guy and you're wondering what might we do next, just look at what we've got in our existing range. And here's my top tip. The one thing that we've never been able to do before as British manufacturers is produce a model that can be sold not just in Birmingham or Bristol or Manchester, but also in Munich or in Brussels or in across Europe. And we've got stuff that runs in Europe. I mean, lots of our models actually do run in Europe, from car carriers to steel carriers to the big vans that we do, both four-wheel and bogie. They all run across Europe. There are traffic flows now which have models we've done that run from destinations in the UK across to Germany, to France, to the Netherlands, to Italy. So why wouldn't we just have advantage of that? So, I mean, with the first wagon that we did, it was a big toss-up between one of that group, if you like, and what we thought was the obvious choice was the box wagon. In the end, we went with the box wagon because they're the most, as far as I can see, they pretty much feel like the most common wagons you see in Britain now. And it was just with the liveries, with the options, with it being a relatively, I mean, I know we've done lots of variations, but in some ways it's a relatively straightforward product. It's a box wagon. We just felt that was the obvious one to go with, and it just sat so well with the Hornby 66 that we knew was coming. But yeah, you know, there is good. I'm really, really positive and enthusiastic. There will be more TT120, and I'm sure Louis is going to be designing quite a lot of it.
Thanks. That is superb. Now, before we leave, now this is new for Mac, for Greg. So I want to see whether he pulls a face or not. But we do have a little bit of news. We have a bit of an announcement, and that is that the TMC have committed to commissioning another livery of Revolution Trains wagons. Ben, do you want to talk to us about that particular wagon? Go on, over to Ben.
Yeah, so the next version that we want to do with TMC is the burgundy coloured two-axe version of the MMA of the JNAT, and that's a really interesting one because two-axe. This was the first of the box wagons that two-axe had purchased. They gone into service with Mendip Rail, so they go very well with the silver Mendip Rail ones we're already doing. So as you know, coming back to what you said earlier, it allows you to immediately sort of mix up the wagons a bit and be realistic in doing that. They're striking. They look great. Big orange 2-axe lettering down the side. They're different colour for everything else. And we'd already tooled up the right variation of details to be able to do these ones, because they are a slightly different design to, say, the red DV MMAs. But yeah, we can do them, and we're really, really excited to be able to add the maroon 2-axe version to all the ones that we're already offering.
Absolutely, I think it's it's going to be an excellent add-on. And now, obviously, at some point, and I can't imagine Hornby not doing this, but they would be perfectly matched with a Freightliner 66 or 59 or whatever. But I mean, it's such a striking. The Freightliner is such a striking livery. I think it's an obvious choice, and so do many other people. Whenever Hornby get around to that, I don't know, but hopefully we'll have these manufactured by then and actually on the shelves. But talking about on the shelves, you will be right now. They've gone live. They're going to be ready for pre-order on TMC's website. There's a link in the description below, along with the rest of the range from Revolution when it comes to TT120. You can also have a look at the rest of the stuff they do in Engage on the TMC website. But Greg, I think that's probably about enough of my employers bumping. Greg, so Greg, are you happy with that?
I think I'll cope with that. I'm just checking exactly which top you've got on, as the TMC or the peachy one you're wearing today. But yeah, no, that's fantastic news. And again, an expression of support, not just, for myself and Chris as TT120 modelers, Revolution coming in, but also TMC as a substantial retailer in the country, and they've obviously got a feel for what will sell here as well, and that's an encouragement, and hopefully it just sells as well. And it's a vote of confidence in the work that they know Revolution will do. So thank you guys for your time. Thank you for giving us plenty to chew on there, and hopefully folk watching it have found it useful as well.
Excellent.
Thanks very much for having us. Nice to speak to you.
Thank you.
Louis, thank you so much for joining us. Hopefully we'll see you some more in the future. Shiny show off. And Greg, thanks for because Greg sorts out the Zoom stuff, because like I said, he is the grown-up, and he makes sure that all our microphones are all working and all that kind of malarkey. But guys, thank you so much for watching this. Don't forget to like and subscribe, PTT120, plus also pop along to look at Matt Trains. He's got a new layout, which is a new. He's probably going to build it quicker than I'm building mine. What's happening next? Well, unfortunately, we won't see Revolution trains at Doncaster, but they are going to be at the BRM at Ali Pally, and I think they're going to. Ben, where else are you going to go to?
We're going to be at Model Rail Scotland, and we'll also be at Model World Live at the NEC in April.
Fantastic. I'll be with my club, Scarborough Railway District Modelers Club, with my TT120 layout. Camelot, that's going to be at Doncaster. Obviously, the TNC will be there as well, but I shall be free. Well, I'm not quite sure if being behind a layout is as free as maybe I'm thinking it is. But there you go. Mac, are you flying across the Model Rail Scotland this year?
No, I think this year will be a miss. I'm afraid it's probably easier for you to get there than for me. But I haven't finalised. But right now it looks like a no. I'm afraid. So yeah, I'll be hiding out in a very cold garage, trying to persuade my fingers to work on a layout. That's probably the likelihood for the next while. So.
Right, guys. Again, thank you so much, everyone, for joining in, and thank you for watching. Everyone, take care. Cheery, bye.
And that's all there is to tell. I'll be on my way now, sir. I've got urgent business in the south. I have to meet a man at Melbourne Junction.